Is that happening?
Keep it in your pants, Tony.
There you go.
Keep
Good
it in your
job,
pants.
Jared. Very well done.
Yeah, I mean, I love Peyton Tolley, but I think we've seen now 2 outings since then that have not looked like the first one. And we saw Connolly Early's outing last night. He looked phenomenal, 11 strikeouts, but he's never struck out 11 anywhere. I don't even think he's done that in Little League. Correct. So I'm going to keep it in my pants as it pertains to the pitching that's been coming up. I don't know that I did that at first with Tolley. I don't know that I want to do that with Tolley. I still think that overall he's going to be a stud. But with the Connolly Early, he's the number 8 prospect in the Red Sox system. It's not like he's someone that everyone was like, this is the guy, just wait until he gets up here. He was doing things that I don't think that even the Red Sox expected him to do last night. So, I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, if he can do it on a consistent basis, then you've got to tip your cap. But I don't think he's supposed to be this guy. Okay,
so now that's a separate question, Jared, because I agree with you. I think the fact that the strikeout total was as high as it was last night really was an indication of more than anything else. The fact that he was able to really kind of fool guys, and they didn't know what to expect. And by the way, the Red Sox have just tied the game.
Should be leading.
That's right. Why, you think the call was blown at second base and people don't even know what we're talking about?
David Hamilton got thrown out on a bang-bang play trying to swipe second, and Rob Refsnyder just drove a double in the gap to drive in Ceddanne Rafaela. But had David Hamilton been safe, then yeah, that's the lead for the Sox. I don't know. I think it was the call on the field on that one was too important. It's like if he was called safe, he would have stayed safe. The fact that he was out, he was going to stay out. There wasn't enough to overturn it. It was really, really close.
Okay, so I felt that way too. I didn't feel like the call on the field was out, and there wasn't enough in the replay to change it. It was a close play. Honestly, Jared, I thought he was out.
Look at us agreeing with each other tonight, Tony. This is maybe separation is what we needed for a week.
I thought you were going to question whether or not Alex Score should have had him stealing. But I suppose with Hamilton, you can take your gamble. As it was, Narvaez ended up walking, right? And then Rafaela pinch ran for him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. But getting back to the pitching, in all seriousness, the outing by Connolly Early last night, Jared, was not about him being a guy who can strike out 11 guys in 5 innings, pitch his way to it rather than throw his way to it, because he is a little bit more of in this day and age, he's what would qualify as a, dare I say, a finesse guy, although he's really not. I mean,
it was 97.
Well, he hit 97. It was actually 96 according to MLB.
Oh,
but even so, he doesn't pitch at 96. He pitches at about 94, which is fine. I love guys like this. And my point is, Jared, why does he have to be an ace? He doesn't have to be an ace. What if he's just a number 3 or 4 starter, but he's a pretty decent one who can give you 20 good starts a year, maybe 5 mediocre ones and 5 or 6 bad ones, and be a number 3 or 4 starter, but a reliable guy in a rotation. What's wrong with that?
You know what, Tony? There's nothing wrong with that. We agree again. Look at us. We're on a roll. I think, if you want to look at Harrison and say, what is this guy? I'm not sure how to answer that question. I don't think the Red Sox know how to answer that question. We just saw his Red Sox debut in this game against the A's, and he looked pretty good. But when you have a guy come into your organization from another organization and you totally tinker with the pitch mix and you're trying to say, you know what, maybe you're more of a changeup guy and you didn't realize. And I don't know. I feel like you need the player to buy in. The fact that Early was just in the system and you could just mold him to whatever you want it to be from day one, that's a benefit. He looked I kept saying mechanically sound. I was comparing his mechanics to Cole Hamels and Max Fried. He just looks very mechanically sound out there, which is nice for a 24-year-old.
So that's what sticks out to me. He's polished, Jared. He's polished. And so here's what I'm getting at with Connolly Early. I don't know. I said, Felger asked me this today, and I said, I don't know where he's going to slot in a rotation. If everything goes perfectly, and he is the kind of guy who can get people out with location and mixing changing speeds, mixing his pitches, moving the ball around the strike zone, because that's what he looked like last night. I could see him reaching the ceiling of like a number 2 starter. I've seen guys like him pitch in that role and be that kind of guy. And when you talk about his delivery, I'm glad you said Max Fried, because his build reminded me of Max Fried or Tom Glavine. I'm just giving you names. I'm not telling you he's going to be this kind of pitcher. I'm just telling you that his build and his delivery is sort of your classic lefty who can throw in the 90s and who can move the ball around and has some finesse and some guile and has all that sort of stuff. And when I say he doesn't have to be an ace, Jared, here's why. They have Garrett Crochet signed for however many years it is, 7 years, and he's 25, 26 years old. Brian Bayo is in his mid-20s, also signed for the long term. Lucas Giolito, I'm not even going to include in the conversation because he's a little older and he's going to be a free agent. But you see where I'm going with this. They have 2 young guys at the front end of their rotation, so they have the 2 biggest holes really filled. So all they need now is to fill out behind that group, whether it's Tolley, whether it is Early, whether it is Brandon Clark, whether it is, what's the righty's name, Valera? Whether it's any of those guys. And it feels to me like they're actually starting to get some traction with some of these pitchers. Again, I'm not telling you they're all superstars, but just producing big league pitchers would be a win for the Red Sox given their history. Am I right or am I not right?
I would say that you are pretty much spot on. Yeah, like they don't need. Like I think at this point we've seen enough from Bayo to know. Okay, like this, he can be a mid-3s guy. Like I think that's kind of who he's been since the middle of last year. So I'm confident in saying, yeah, you've filled the first 2 spots in the rotation. I don't know that I would go into next year saying, one of these guys is going to emerge. Like, you're going to have a competition. You're still going to want to entertain a trade. You're still going to want to entertain signing maybe a Framber Valdez. You can fill it out that way. But even if just one of these guys ends up filling a rotation spot next year, I call that a big win.
Definitely. This is the point. You need multiples. You got to have multiple guys. If you're looking to fill one spot, you need 3 or 2, or, you get the idea. You can't just bring up a guy and think he's going to be the answer. There is another thing as it relates to Early and to Tolley as the Red Sox head into the bottom of the 9th here against the A's out in Sacramento today. They tied the game in the top of the 9th, 4-4. What kind of assistance, what kind of boost can either of these guys or both give the Red Sox here in the final, call it couple of weeks of the season? We'll ask Jared that when we come back. 617-779-0985. We'll also get to potentially, if the game's still going on, we may touch on Aaron Judge moving into number 5 all time on the Yankees home run list. We could get to that. And so lots to catch up on with the Red Sox, who are very much, I don't want to say marching, but heading toward October one way or another. Again, Jared Carrabis with us on this Wednesday. How those young guys can help the Red Sox here in the postseason when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
This is
3 straight. Catches Wilson looking at that pitch. Man, 2 down.
Location. This is, we always talk about it. When a rookie comes up, it's not a finished product. This kid knows how to pitch.
Home with a 1-2. And punches him out. He strikes out the side in the second. Catches another guy looking. 5-0 Boston.
That was Connolly early last night. So again, just not even a couple of weeks after Peyton Tolley makes his debut, gets a standing ovation walking off the mound at Fenway Park. Connolly early pitches out in Sacramento against the Athletics. It was 5 innings, strikes out 11, had some base runners in the final 2 innings. And I don't think anyone should be under any illusion about what Early is. I think he's going to be the kind of guy that when he's off is going to get hit and potentially get hit hard. But when he's on, he can move the ball around. He can actually pitch. He can help his staff. Jared, I guess what I'm saying is this. I think that kid last night is a big leaguer. I think he's a big leaguer. You tell me, do you agree?
Red Sox just got walked off. Yeah, no, I do. Crazy that Chapman was the one to give it up out of everyone that you've been trotting out there out of the bullpen, but he was due. But yeah, no, Early, I think as a kid that he had poise and mound presence, and I think some of the situations that you would want to see him see, I guess, like when we watched Peyton Tolley, he didn't really face any kind of adversity until that last inning, the 6th. But Early had a couple situations where, it was like, let me see if he can pitch out of this. And he was able to do that. So, I mean, that checks some boxes for me. There's not a ton that you can really take out of a debut, like that's why I kept saying, like, I'm keeping my reactions to Early reserved, because if the scouting report is that, this is not a guy that hits 96, 97, especially later into his outings, then how much of this was aided by the adrenaline from your big league debut, and what does it look like in starts 4, 5, 6, and so forth?
Agreed.
Like when that adrenaline isn't there, if you can't tap into that, and it's just another day into the office, what does it look like?
Yeah, that's a thing that, Jared, I took note of too. He hasn't had the same explosiveness on his fastball the last 2 outings. And so now this one was on 4 days of rest, right? The one prior, when he got batted around in Arizona, it was on a full week of rest, or 6 days. So that one's a little different, but I agree. It was one of the first questions I asked myself is, was he all geeked up for that first game that he had a little more and was hitting, I think he hit 99 in the first inning. So, and I don't think we've seen that since. And I'm not blaming him for it. I'm just saying it's the reality of being in the big leagues for the first time and fired up and coming out throwing bullets. And they were able to get something out of him that night. They got a lot out of him that night, just like they got a lot out of Early last night. So here's my question for you. Going forward, and they have 16 games left now? I have to double check that. But I think it's 16 games left, closing in onto the on the end of the season. And it is. They're 81-65, so they've played 146 games, 16 to go. Do you think these guys can help the team over the final couple of weeks here still? And how do you envision them doing that?
So for Early, yeah, I mean, I would love to see another start, and I think he's going to get that. If Dustin May is on the injured list, and I think they were just calling that inflammation. I think that one's legit. Like the Hicks injury, they just told him to kick rocks. But I think Dustin May, he said he's felt something in his forearm. So I think Early is going to get another start here. But with Tolley, I think teams immediately figured out like he just is throwing a fastball because his fastball is really good, and the secondary stuff is what they're trying to work on, or what they were attempting to work on. Had the Red Sox gone out and added a starter that was more effective at the deadline, and maybe if you don't have Dobbins, Cutter, and Fitz all injured, and you didn't trade Priester, I don't think we see Tolley. Like, I don't think that that's something that they wanted to do. It's something that they felt like they had to do. So I think Tolley's role in their mind probably would be some sort of bullpen role or opener role where it's like, all right, go out there, give us 2-3 innings, empty the tank with the heater because it's really good. But I don't think that they're expecting him to make starts where he's pitching into the 6th inning routinely down the stretch or in the postseason.
I mean, isn't today what you'd basically get? I mean, it was 2 innings today, right? You just want to do it without the home runs. And but honestly, Jared, I don't think they were expecting early here either. I think the only reason he's here is because, again, May went down, and all of a sudden now they had another need for another guy, and they didn't have much else to turn to, so they had to bring him here. And I just don't think, excuse me, I just don't think they really had, all that many places to go. He's been throwing the ball well, so they took a chance on it. If I said to you right now, and this is probably an easy question given the way the day went today for Peyton Tolley, but if I had to ask you right now, one of these guys makes the postseason roster, one doesn't, who are you taking?
Ooh. Is Dustin May healthy in this exercise or no?
Sure, yeah, throw him in there too. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so if Dustin May is healthy, I think they roll with Tolley. I think they just love the fastball and how it plays and what kind of a weapon he can be out of the bullpen. I think that they would just, it's not the best option, but I still think that they would roll out Dustin May as your game 4 starter and then have Tolley as a backup plan.
And if May's not healthy?
What other options do you have?
You're keeping them both, you mean?
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Okay,
what else are you going to do?
So that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you if you can only take one. Independent, so let's take May out of it then. In other words, only one of these guys you can put into a game in the postseason. Which one are you putting in?
Probably Tolley still.
Because of the stuff.
The stuff, the fastball plays, and I don't know. Like I'm not a Connolly early expert. We've seen one start; it was excellent, but I mean, so was Tolley's first start, and the next 2 outings were not as good. So I don't know. I'm trusting the stuff.
Okay, and did you not know much about him before last night? And look, I'm not telling you I did. I'm only asking because, frankly, I think you're more on top of this stuff than I am. But did you know much about him at all?
Yeah. I mean, just from just listening to the Sox prospect guys, like it's not like I didn't go down and like watch any of his starts or anything like that. But I listened to the Sox prospects podcast, and he's a name that's come up quite a bit. And I want to say his name came up a little bit during the trade deadline as well. I don't know if it was in the Merrill Kelly deal that his name had come up. So. Yeah, he's someone that I was familiar with, was on the radar. He's been being a top 10 guy. Once the new rankings came out, it's like, all right, you're familiar with at least the top 10 guys in the organization. But I didn't think he was going to do what he did last night. When he got called up, I was like, are we looking at 4 innings? Kind of the same thing that I felt about Tolley. I love Peyton Tolley, but I didn't. When he came out for the 5th, I was surprised. When he came out for the 6th, I was like, whoa. So, I was kind of expecting the same with early last night, and he exceeded my expectations just like Tolley did in his big league debut.
See, and Jared, you mentioned the trade deadline. This is another reason why I think it's a good development. Even if these guys don't pitch here, they're now trade chips. So people have seen them. Everybody is watching. I know teams have scouts, and they send scouts to the minor leagues, but you never know how a guy is going to look or how he's going to respond until he gets to the big leagues. And so when a scout goes into a GM and he says, hey, look, I like this kid that the Red Sox are pitching in AAA, and the GM says, well, I haven't seen him. Show me the video. And then he says, well, actually, he's pitching tonight in the big leagues. And then the GM sees him and says, oh, I can see what you like in this kid. Look at how he just pitched. So I just think it increases their value. At a minimum, it increases their value. 617-779-0985 on the Baseball Hour. George is in Malden. He's our first caller tonight. George, what do you got?
Hi. Early and Harrison has the total arsenal of pitches that a pitcher should have. Tolley only has one pitch. He has to go back to the minors and learn how to pitch other pitches to go with his fastball. I think Early should be on the starting thing into the playoffs, or Harrison, not Tolley.
Okay, so George, look, the idea, Jared, the whole idea that, and I let him go, the whole idea that Tolley needs work is obvious. Don't we all know that? They knew that when they brought him here.
Sure.
There is like the idea that the question, the whole reason to bring him up was that his fastball alone could play in the big leagues, and you still think that has more value. Let's just say they're both in the bullpen, and throw Harrison in there too if you want. I'm just telling you, who are guys that in an emergency case in the postseason might be able to help you if you get into a spot, and you would lean on the stuff with Tolley before the stuff with Early.
Sure, and I think that Early has plenty of time to change my mind. Like, what's he going to be able to do? Have 2 more starts before the postseason would start? 2, 3 starts?
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, like, he has plenty of time to change my mind. If what we keep seeing with Tolley continues to happen, where it's like, all right, yeah, he's got a great fastball, but if that's all he throws, we're big league hitters. If we know it's coming, they can time up 105 if they know that it's coming. So, I want to see more from Early, and then you kind of make it a decision as you go. I feel like, if we were to make a decision right now, there's plenty of time for, I think, how we feel about it to change.
All right, Jared Carrabis with us on this Wednesday, as he always is during the baseball season. Red Sox 5-4 losers to the, I keep wanting to say to Oakland, to the Athletics today in Sacramento, which I want to get to that stadium out there too, Jared. I want to get your 2 cents on that. What a freaking joke that MLB has to play in that facility. But anyway.
I agree.
Kevin Majori's got your headlines here. Jared will rejoin us. Red Sox lose to the Athletics. We'll
the Sports Hub.
Well, they're a line drive into left field, base hit. That'll be a game winner. In to score, Langoliers. And the A's pull out the finale of this series 5-4. There's your final. They celebrate a win here in Sacramento, so the Red Sox wind up going 3-3 on the trip, heading back home to face the Yankees come the weekend.
Well, Chapman had gone so much, 50 guys, right? Played appearance batters without giving up a hit. He gives up a couple here in the ninth. Kind of a lot to ask. He's going to keep that up. Offensively, I thought you had too many opportunities early on. He never cashed in. Offense went a little quiet afterwards. You still won the series as you head home to get ready for a big series against the New York Yankees.
In the series, had an opportunity, I think, to gain. They gained a game last night on the Blue Jays, who lost the Yankees win last night. Or did I get that backwards?
They got smoked.
So I got it backwards. So
yes.
The point is that, and they're both playing good competition, right? Toronto's playing, I'm getting this wrong.
Houston.
Yankees are playing Detroit. Toronto's playing Houston.
Correct.
And so if the Red Sox just take care of business, in all probability, they pick up a game today. They don't. They don't pick up a game. They end up losing to the A's. But, Jared, let me ask you, because I wonder how a lot of fans are approaching this now. You got 16 games to go. You're going to be into the playoffs. Can we agree on that they're not going to blow this?
97.3% chance of making the playoffs.
Is that what it is now, according to Fangraphs or whoever?
Yeah, 97.3%.
Okay, so it looks like they're going to be in. Does the seeding matter to you? And for that matter, does it matter to them? In other words, would they like to be? Are they going to fight to be the top wild card team so they can play the series at home? And if the opportunity presents itself, are they going to fight to potentially win the division if that allows, because they could end up with a bye, really, because they're actually ahead of the Astros now in the standings. So there are all types of things still at stake here. Or do you think everybody's just complacent and has reached the point now where they say, no, it is what it is. They're going to get in. They're going to have to play the wild card series on the road, and everyone's okay with that. Are you okay with that?
No, I'm not okay with it. No, I don't think that they're complacent. As it pertains to the seeding. I think with the division, they're probably looking at it saying, yeah, we still have a series left against Toronto at the end of the month. Let's see what happens there. But if they take care of business with the Yankees, I think that they're more than happy to host them at Fenway Park. Alex Cora talks about the importance of playing at Fenway, and even in the last 3 years where they've just been 500 and blah, he's been very vocal about we need to make Fenway Park an uncomfortable place for opposing teams to come play again. He talked about how loud it was in 21, talked about how uncomfy it was in the playoffs in 2018. This year, the Red Sox are 44-28 at home. They're 37-38 on the road. So they have to be aware of that. I'm sure they are. I know Cora is. I'm sure the players are. That, hey, we play our best baseball at Fenway. Bring us the Yankees. We've played them very well for the last, it doesn't really matter if it's different rosters at different. They played them very well this year. And I think that's also a nice path for them. Like if they end up getting Detroit, it's like, okay, like Skubal probably going to win the Cy Young Award. You've handed him his best or his worst loss of the year this year. And then after that, it's like they've got Casey Mize and really what else, like I feel like, because Cora kept saying about the Roman Anthony injury, visualize game one of the ALCS. And some may say, well, wait a second, like you got to get there first, and it's going to be a difficult path. Any path is difficult in the postseason, but you can certainly see a path for the Red Sox if that's the matchup. If you get the Yankees in the wild card, you happen to play that series at home, and then you end up getting Detroit. It's like, yeah, sure. I could see a path to the ALCS for this team.
So, well, look, Jared, as can I. I just don't think there's anybody in the American League that is decisively better than them. I mean, I might take Toronto's a rotation over theirs, although it's close just because you have the horse. And,
their bullpen stinks.
Well, right. And so, but I think that they are every bit as capable as any other team in the American League to get to the World Series is what it comes down to. And I just don't see why anyone would forego that advantage to, I like to play everything out until the very end. And so, to me, if there whether it's fans, I don't think the team is guilty of it, but I do think that fans sort of say, "Oh, well, they're in the playoffs. What difference does it make?" I think it makes a difference, and so I would much rather they be at home for the wild card round against the Yankees or whoever it is that they end up facing. In all probability, it will be New York, and you'd be far better off playing at Fenway Park, and at a minimum. It creates a nice environment and buzz in the city, more so than they would be if they were on the road. I think that would make a difference. I think it would be better for them to play in that ballpark. It'd be better for the city for them to play in that ballpark, whether they win or lose. I just think that we have lacked real events in October now with the Red Sox for 4 years. And so to me, to have that back would be a good thing. What do you anticipate with this series with the Yankees here coming up over the weekend?
I think they both kind of know this is it. Yeah, I think that both teams are going into this series treating it as the winner of this series gets home field advantage in the wild card. I'm not saying that guys that have played a 162 game season, that the division is within reach, but at the end of the day, I think both teams are saying, hey, whoever walks away, like if we end up taking 2 out of 3 or sweep this series, you have secured home field for the wild card. And in a best out of 3, a lot of these, Tony, I don't know, I'm sure as a baseball guy, you've paid very close attention to these wild card series. A lot of them, it's 2 games. It really is. There's not a whole lot of decisive third game in these wild card series. So it's 2 games and you want them in your backyard. And I feel like this series this weekend, that's what you're playing for.
Why do you think it is broken that way that they get decided in 2?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just teams have good in a best of 7. You're going to get exposed if you don't have deep starting pitching. You can get away with not having deep starting pitching in a best of 3. You don't have to be that complete. So I don't know. It's just been from where I would love to see the actual statistic, but I would venture to guess that of all the best of 3 wild card series played, 95% of them have been finished in 2 instead of 3.
Okay. It's interesting. I hadn't looked at all the data on that, but to me, that's all the more reason to be at home. You don't want to go on the road and then lose the first one. Then teams get demoralized. They feel like I don't know, maybe that's it. They feel like they got to win 2 in a row. They can't do that, which I think is ridiculous because you can. But, again, I'll take the home field. I also want to ask you, and this is a little off the grid, but I mentioned it in the last segment, playing these games in Sacramento, and I know they've been there all year, but we haven't seen it, Jared, because the Red Sox have not played the A's, until now. So seeing them play in this ballpark, and let me say that I know that the Red Sox played the Blue Jays in a spring training facility during COVID, but that was different. We all know that was different and why it was different. I also know that they've played Tampa Bay at the Yankees facility because the Rays Stadium was damaged by a hurricane. They haven't been able to play at home all year, so they had to play in a minor league facility. I get it. But when a team like the A's is in the middle of a relocation and they have to play games in a minor league stadium where the clubhouse is out behind the left field wall, I find it to be an embarrassment for Major League Baseball that they couldn't find a better place to play, or that the A's couldn't figure it out and come to some sort of agreement in the short term, or the planning wasn't done properly. Do I have a right to be irritated that they're playing games in this stadium if for no other reason than I don't like it aesthetically?
It's more than just aesthetically. If you're one of the players, the clubhouse is in the outfield.
Correct.
Like Garrett Crochet after his start, he's like, I guess I'll just wander out to left field now. Like, I'm done. I got to go in for my treatment. And it's like you're wandering out to the outfield. If you're a manager and you get ejected, that's a long walk of shame to the outfield if you get ejected from the dugout. The other thing, too, I don't think people realize that a minor league team still plays there. So like the grounds crew will be like, yeah, dude, like the field is torn up. It's like I think it's the River Cats, maybe the Sacramento River Cats. I could be wrong. But there is a AAA team that plays there when the A's don't play there. So there's never any time for maintenance. It's just nonstop baseball being played there. Luis Severino has complained about it ad nauseum. I don't really feel as bad in that situation. Like you chose to sign there in the offseason knowing that this was going to be the setup. I would feel worse if it was like I don't even know, like JP Sears before he got traded, a guy that's like been there for a little bit. But yeah, it's not aesthetically pleasing, and it's not just like the accommodations are not big league. Like I feel bad for the players of the A's. Like you work your entire life to get drafted and move up the ranks, and then you finally get called up to the show, and it's anything but the show.
So, Jared, it didn't occur to me the ramifications of it until last night. That, you mentioned the clubhouse being in left field. Romy Gonzalez homers in the top of the first. Then going out to his position, I think he said his knee locked up. And so he expects to play over the weekend against the Yankees. But Cora ends up pulling him from the game. And then as they're resuming play in the bottom of the first inning, they keep showing Romy Gonzalez in the dugout. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if he's hurt, why hasn't he gone down to the clubhouse to get treatment, put ice on it, whatever it is that he has to do? And then Merloni mentions on the broadcast just what you mentioned a second ago, that the clubhouse is out behind the freaking left field wall, and that the only way he can get there is to walk through the game that is being played. And so he has to wait until the end of the inning to get out to the clubhouse and get to the trainer's room, which I think is a freaking joke. It's ridiculous that it came to that. Major League Baseball should be embarrassed to have to play games in that facility. And again, I'm not telling you that, he waited 10 minutes, and given the way that Connolly Early was pitching, it was a quick wait. He was able to get out to the outfield and, get his leg looked at and what have you. But to me, the whole setup there is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 617-779-0985. We'll wrap it up with your calls when we come back. And I want to ask Jared about someone who's coming into Fenway Park this weekend and a milestone he achieved last night. We'll get to that as well.
You're listening to the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Big moment last night in New York. Aaron Judge moved into sole possession of number 5 on the home run list, the Yankees' all-time home run list, meaning home runs that were hit for the Yankees. I want to get to that with Jared in a moment, but we do have Jeff in Rhode Island on the Athletic Stadium situation in Sacramento. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on, Tony? Loving the show this week. Great to be hearing about baseball on this station again. What do you think? This is kind of a stupid question about the Athletics playing next year in the Raiders Stadium, having them convert it like the Metrodome. I'll let you hear what you guys got to say.
Okay, so I hadn't even given that any thought, Jared. Do you care where they play in Vegas if it's not in their own stadium?
Not really, no. I think it's just like having done the podcast with Dallas Braden for so many years now, I continue to just feel bad for the fans in Oakland that it's not there. And yeah, I mean, I don't care where they play from here. If it's not Oakland, it's just not going to feel right.
I mean, just think of what the equivalent would be here. Okay, if let's just say the Red Sox are trying to build a new stadium or what have you, okay, and that it wasn't done and they couldn't use Fenway Park, the equivalent would be them going out to play in Worcester. That's what it would be at Polar Park. And I have nothing against Polar Park.
Probably like Portland, if we're being honest, because at least Worcester is a brand new facility.
Okay, so right. So that's a fair point, too. It would have to be something on the older side. But my point is, as a minor league stadium, I'm sure what they have in Sacramento is fine. As a big league stadium, it doesn't cut it. So think of like the Red Sox having to play a year's worth of games in Portland or Worcester or wherever. Take your pick. Manchester, any of those. The idea of it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I can't believe baseball came to this. Just quickly before we go, and I understand, Jared, this goes against the very fiber of your being because Aaron Judge plays for the hated Yankees.
I love Aaron Judge.
Okay, I would hope you do because I feel like he's a legit guy to kind of root for. But now number 5 on the Yankees all-time home run list behind, and I'll say these names clearly and slowly: Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle,
my favorite,
Joe DiMaggio.
He's all right.
Is he a worthy member of that group?
Yeah. I think what's most interesting about that group, or at least like the Yankees all-time home run list, is that Aaron Judge passed A-Rod in like 400 fewer games.
You still going? You still there?
Yeah, you can't hear me?
No, I thought I lost you. Sorry. Look, he is, to me, he's an all-timer. The one thing, though, I will, and we had a emailer point this out today, that in the case of Judge, his postseason numbers are horrendous. And so, again, I haven't gone through to look at all the postseason numbers of Mickey Mantle and, certainly Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, DiMaggio. But what I do know is they all won championships. And
they sure did.
Yeah, and until Judge does that, in New York, they won't put him on the same level as those guys unless he becomes the all-time home run leader, which I think is unlikely, but you never know. Anyway, 7 o'clock, Jared, time for you to go.
Yeah, he's going to pass DiMaggio soon, too. They're actually bunched together. So he's going to end up being number 4 on that list very soon.
Yep, very soon is right. Jared, listen, thank you as always.
Thank you, Tony. I'll see you next week.
All right, we'll catch up with you soon. Hopefully the Red Sox are closer to first place or the top wildcard spot by then. I think we're in agreement on that. The Kevin Majori's Get Your Headlines here. Joe Murray has you for the rest of the night. We'll catch you tomorrow.